The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife presents How to Fish for Trout in Oregon. We've made it back home and now it's time to prepare our catch. What we're first going to do is show you how to clean and prepare this fish so that way you're ready to either barbecue it, pan fry it, or even bake it. So let's go ahead now and start with the process. The first step in preparing our catch is by taking our knife and we're going to create an incision right behind the pectoral fin from the backbone all the way down towards the belly. We're not going to cut all the way through. We're going to stop right at the backbone when you feel the blade hit it. Next, we're going to flip the trout over and do the same incision on the other side. Next, we're going to take our knife point, start at the vent, and work our knife blade all the way up towards the chin of the fish. Now that we have it open, we're going to finish our cut up around the collar, go all the way through the belly here and across the top of the back. Get a firm hold of the head, pop the backbone, and then slide the entrails out of the body cavity. Our next part is we need to get the blood out of the main artery that runs parallel to the backbone. So you can either use a spoon, or I just choose to use the butt of my knife. You take the butt of your knife, place it towards the back end of the fish, press it hard against the backbone, and just scoop all the blood out. Our next step in preparing our fish is I like to remove all the fins. So I cut the tail off, and the vent fin, and the dorsal fin. The last step in preparing our fish to be cooked is I like to remove all of the fish slime that's on the exterior of the fish. So I take a paper towel, place the trout on the paper towel, and just rub it dry. I do that on the outside as well as on the inside. And now our trout is ready to be cooked. Let's hand it off to Bethy and see what she has in store for us.
So when I have a trout that's big enough, or kokanee, or whatever I'm cleaning and cutting, I like to take the skin off. Now this trout's a little small, but I'm gonna show you what I would do with a bigger trout. I would go right down the backbone and slit along one side of the fin all the way down and basically fillet it off of the rib cage bones. At this point, I actually fillet the fish. And there you have it. And then you do the other side the exact same way.
Bethy and I now have our fish prepared, and we're going to show you two different recipes. Mine's going to be very basic and simple. First, all I do is I take this butter and I place it inside the cavity of the fish, and then also a couple pieces around the outside. Next, I just take a couple slices of lemon, again, a few pieces inside the body cavity, and then a couple pieces right on top of the fish. Once I've placed the butter and lemon on the fish, I close up the tin foil and we'll place it on the barbecue. Now, I'm all ready to go. So let's see what Bethy, the master chef, has for us.
All right. So my basic recipe is what I do for most fish, and that is butter, salt, pepper, dill. I like to put capers on, and a little lemon at the very end. So let's get started. So first I add the salt, then the pepper, then a little dill. You can use fresh dill or you can just use dry dill, either one. You always have dry dill. Fresh is harder to get, so I usually use dried. Then I put a little capers on top. Then I place butter on the very top, and that's it. Now that I'm done putting all the seasonings on, I'm gonna wrap it up, barely, just so the butter doesn't leak over the sides. And then cook it on the grill, and then for the final touch, I squeeze a little lemon on. And then I have a couple other things that I'm going to spice the dish up with.
Bethy, how long do you like to have your fish on the grill for?
Honestly, I use a fork and just flake it to see if it's can flake, and that means it's done. If you can't flake it, I know it's a weird word to use, then it's not ready. It needs to stay on the grill a little bit longer.
Right. Trout, for the most part, has an opaque colored meat, and so what you want to wait for is for that meat to become solid white, and just like Bethy said, for it to flake. So just take your fork, press it against the meat, and see if it will come right off the bones, or in Bethy's case, it'll just separate easily. If it doesn't, and you still see some opaque color in the meat, keep it on there longer. And it looks done. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off the grill.
On my plate already, I have a fennel and roasted corn puree with zucchini and roasted corn and Parmesan cheese. And then after I put the fish on, I will then squeeze the lemon on top. My final touch at the end is a caper lemon beurre blanc sauce that goes on top of the fish. And there you have it.